Bold prediction or inevitable result. Either way, Paolo Banchero is so ready. In a recent interview, Paolo expressed his excitement to compete, potentially coming out of the East and on his way to an NBA Finals appearance. Today on Magic Digest, I'm going to break down the Eastern Conference, give you my prediction for the top three teams to come out of the East, and hopefully we're going to dispel some myths about Paolo along the way. So we have a lot of ground to cover. But before we get into any of that, what's going on, Magic fans? This is your favorite new Floridian and Magic Digest host, Sam Rodriguez. I'm so excited for the season to start. I can't wait to get into some daily game breakdowns with you all and really just see this team on the floor for real. So, do me a favor, you know the deal. Stop and hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss a video of this upcoming season. We want to change these non-subscribers to subscribers. So again, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and turn on those notifications while you're at it. And let's just get this started with a quote from Paolo Banchero himself. In a recent interview, when asked what he's excited about going into the new season and playing alongside Desmond Bane, Paolo confidently said, quote, "I'm just looking forward to competing at a high level, going to hopefully take the East, get around this new team, this new energy, and these new vibes." And the vibes are certainly high with this roster, at least on paper. But I wouldn't call this a bold prediction per se, and I mean that even beyond the very subtle and open way that Paolo phrased it. But the Magic have been very much gaining momentum as a team that people, sports personalities specifically, genuinely believe can win the Eastern Conference, and I think they were gaining that momentum, albeit at a much slower rate. Even before the Desmond Bain trade, granted, that trade kind of catapulted them into this conversation, right? But prior to that, I think we really just need to shine a light on Paolo Banchero and how incredible he has been. Now, amongst the circles of avid basketball watchers and Magic journalists, I think it's pretty well known and covered that Paolo Banchero is, in fact, the real deal. But in more mainstream media and content, it might seem like Paolo's a little underrated, maybe a little disrespected. Um, at times. The fact that the Magic are not often on national television, the fact that Paolo was injured for a significant portion of the season last year probably didn't do him any favors, but the point is that he absolutely deserves to be in that conversation of being a top player in the league. And these are some of his numbers from last season, despite a torn right oblique injury that kept him out for 34 games. He returned on January 10th and proceeded to drop 34 points against the Bucks. So he averaged 25 points, 25.9 points, excuse me, 7.5 rebounds and almost 5 assists last season. And the concern here, because obviously, like I'm sure everybody's looking at this, maybe aside from his 3-point percentage being like, what's the concern? The concern is mostly with his advanced stats. So his true shooting percentage has been below league average throughout his first few years in the league. But just a few things to add on to that. After All-Star break last year, he brought his true shooting percentage up from 51.2% to 58.3%, which is around or maybe a little bit better than league average for his position. And I also think with a healthy team around him, with a more talented team around him, you're only going to see Paolo get better in those advanced stats. So maybe his stats drop a little. Maybe he averages a few less points, but with a increased true shooting percentage, it's fine. Everything's going to be great. But just to add some added emphasis to my point, on his podcast, Zach Lowe said he is taking all of the Paolo stock next season. He said, quote, "He just shows up and makes a fair share of really hard mid-range jump shots. He's also shown me he's a good playmaker as a passer and as a screener. I think the more talent around him, the more he will tap into those parts of his game. Give me all the Banchero stock. That dude is ready for everything." Really high praise from someone who is very respected in those basketball circles I was referring to. And me personally, I'm inclined to agree with Zach Lowe on just about everything. In that same podcast, he ranked the Magic in his top three teams likely to come out of the East. And on the Chris Vernon show, Chris Vernon said he believes that Paolo could very well be a top 5 player in the NBA if they get to run it back healthy. I think this team is going to be absolutely dynamite. Orlando is the safest to be third in the East, and you can see the quote up there now. So the Magic have a lot of support behind them, which means they probably also have a lot of pressure on them for next season. But obviously, as we've discussed, the East is wide open due to some significant injuries that took place last season, specifically in the playoffs, that would have otherwise made the race in the Eastern Conference a bit tighter. But let's take a look at the Eastern Conference here, and please drop a comment below and let me know what teams you have in your top 3 to make it out of the East. This was last year's standings. But in terms of who I have coming out of the East, I'm going to go with the Orlando Magic, obviously, the New York Knicks, and I suppose logically I should say the Cleveland Cavaliers here. But I think that I'm in the minority of people who have a little less faith in them. I think last season was an absolutely incredible and historic season for them, and I know that they suffered some injuries in the playoffs as well. But I think we've seen this for a few years now with them, and I just think last year might have been the year, their window. I don't want to say their window. Obviously, they're a very talented team, but I think this year I'm going to go with the Atlanta Hawks for that third spot. We've seen them make the conference finals once before in the past with less, I would say, and they've kind of been through it ever since, despite being somewhat competitive. But they had a really, really great offseason, adding Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who played impactful minutes in consecutive conference finals with the Timberwolves, NBA champion Kristaps Porzingis, who hopefully he can be healthy for them. I know he was having some health issues with the Celtics during the playoffs. They also added Luke Kennard as well. So in addition to Trae Young, they've added a ton of three-point shooting, a ton of experience. I think they have a great shot. I think the Knicks are an easy choice here. They went up 3-1 against the defending champs in the playoffs, and got to their first Eastern Conference finals in over 20 years, and that's in the same season that they acquired Karl-Anthony Towns. So we saw the effect of Karl-Anthony Towns and the Mikal Bridges trade right away. I think one of their concerns was depth. So they go out, they add Jordan Clarkson, they add Gershon Yabusele, and they're favorites to add Ben Simmons as well. So I think with a whole summer to continue building their chemistry and these improvements, along with a new coach, which was also a concern, who has championship experience, I think the Magic are a lot. The Knicks are a lock to finish top 3, and then we have obviously the Orlando Magic, who, despite their 3 best players only playing in 6 games together, and I could barely find a picture of them together. Just to repeat that, they only played 6 games together. That is absolutely insane. Despite dealing with significant injuries to their stars at all different times throughout the season, despite being the worst 3-point shooting team in the league, they still managed to make the playoffs, play competitively enough to turn some heads when they played the Boston Celtics in the first round, still managed to be the second defensive team in the league, just behind the reigning champs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So you get your team back healthy, a more efficient Paolo, if the second half of last season carries over, and I believe that it will. You add Desmond Bean, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, a great 3-and-D player. Tyus Jones, who brings veteran leadership, high IQ, along with his 3-point shooting. Not to mention a healthy Franz, who is destined to have a big season. He was kind of slaying before his injury as well. And you have a team that may very well come out of the Eastern Conference to go to their third finals in franchise history. So time and 82 games will tell. So make sure that you are subscribed to Magic Digest so you can follow along with me during the season and every moment leading up to then. Drop a comment and let me know what you're feeling about the Magic, what else you want us to cover here on Magic Digest, and I will see you all next video.